Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Daily Triple, your no shit gaming news video. That's 3 news stories in one video with zero faff. CD Projekt may have risen to superstardom with the success of Witcher 3, but before that the company made a name for itself with good old games, now simply known as GOG. The online game retail is continuing CD Projekt's message of goodwill to gamers by updating its refund policy in favor of a gamers first approach. According to a post on the GOG website, starting now you can get a full refund up to 30 days after purchasing a product, even if you downloaded, launched, and played it. That's it. That means that even if you've played the game, you can still claim a refund within the 30 days of purchase. Other platforms like Steam base their refunds on whether you've played more than 2 hours of a game, while others make you jump through a bunch of hoops or offer no refunds at all. I'm looking at you, Nintendo. The 2-hour deadline is imposed to limit people exploiting the service to effectively play games for free, while exploitation is a risk CD Projekt is willing to take by putting faith in GOG users. It's important for us to say that this update is possible thanks to your respect for all the time and hard work put into creating games that you buy on GOG.com and playing by the rules. We're grateful for that and encourage you to continue to do so. Since GOG sells games on behalf of game publishers and developers, everyone's money is at risk, not just GOG's, so it will refuse refunds in specific cases. We're monitoring the effects of the current update to make sure no one is using this policy to hurt the developers that put their time and heart into making games. We may refuse refunds in such individual cases. When asked about how many games can be refunded, GOG said in the FAQs, "We trust that you're making informed purchasing decisions and will use this updated voluntary refund policy only if something doesn't work as you expected. This is why there are no limits, but instead we reserve the right to refuse refunds in individual cases. Please respect all the time and hard work put into making games you play and remember that refunds are not reviews. If you finished the game and didn't like it, please consider sharing your opinion instead. Also, please don't take advantage of our trust asking for an unreasonable amount of games to be refunded. Don't be that person. No one likes that person." There are massive risks of exploitation with a policy update like this, as well as piracy concerns among some gamers since GOG is a DRM-free platform. However, while its business sense may be questionable, it's undeniably yet more evidence of CD Projekt being the most consumer-friendly game company out there, even if it means damage to CDP's own profit margins. And next up, Nintendo is notoriously tight-lipped when it comes to its IPs and will shut you down without hesitation. That's exactly what happened to Milton Guasti from Brazil, who was working on a remake of 1991's Metroid 2 for the Game Boy, simply titled Another Metroid 2 Remake or AM2R. "My mindset was, whatever I do, it'll be better than an old black and white game," said Guasti. The whole process took over a decade for the amateur game maker, with the process being documented at length in this Vice article. There's a link in the description. Despite never getting the same love and attention as Mario or Zelda, Nintendo still clamped down hard on the remake of its IP, issuing a DMCA or Digital Millennium Copyright Act notice. To be fair, Nintendo does have the right to shut down any breach of its copyright, but when the community is the only thing keeping the franchise alive, each copy strike stings that little bit more. If the IP holder doesn't appear to care, what harm does it all really do? Nonetheless, Nintendo shut AM2R down, but that wasn't the end of Mr. Guasti's journey. 4 years on from the DMCA takedown, Guasti is actually employed on a title heavily inspired by the Metroid games of old. After receiving a mysterious email from a developer at Moon Studios, Guasti was invited to audition for a position at the development team for the sequel to 2015's Ori and the Blind Forest, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. The challenge was to prove he could work beyond the Metroid setting and had to design a level for Ori. Impressing the folks at Moon Studio, Guasti has spent the past few years working as a level designer on Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Shifting from an amateur game developer working on pixelated hallways to having to learn an entirely new, much more lush and chaotic style was no easy task for Guasti. "My very first iterations of the levels were blocky and felt artificial, and having to learn this new design language and seeing what the actual place is, instead of just a collection of random platforms, that took a little bit of time. It was quite a discipline." Guasti joined the team in mid-development, which posed additional challenges and forced him to hit the ground running. He was even asked to pitch ideas for the game, some of which made it into the final product, and he says that he's particularly proud of the game's escape sequences. Not bad for someone with no professional development experience. Having to work with a team that actually listens to you, it's super awesome. Ori and the Will of the Wisps was originally due for release back in 2019, but has suffered several delays, with the current release date it being in less than 2 weeks on March 11th. At least Nintendo won't be able to take this one away from him. In related news, a member of the Dreams community has managed to get themselves a job offer after showing off their creation skills. For those who don't know, Dreams is a PS4 exclusive that's less a game and more a set of creation tools with a huge focus on community and collaboration. User JimmyJules153 has impressed everyone with his Resogun-like arcade shooter Blade Gunner, and a certain dev studio has taken notice. It's unclear which studio contacted Jimmy Jules or whether he's even accepted the offer, but he told Escapist magazine, "I was approached by a European game development company who asked me to join their team. I'm excited for the future and where this may take me." And finally, love him or hate him, Hideo Kojima is a hugely influential figure in the games industry, and BAFTA has chosen to recognise that. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts is awarding the Metal Gear and Death Stranding creator a BAFTA Fellowship Award, the highest honour the Academy provides. In response, Kojima said, "I'm very honoured. I would like to take this moment to reflect on the many predecessors that came before me, as I deeply respect their contributions to entertainment, whether in movies, television, or games. Past winners in the games industry include 8 other individuals: Shigeru Miyamoto, game designer at Nintendo and creator of Mario and Zelda; Tim Schafer, founder of Double Fine and a LucasArts veteran; Gabe Newell, the founder of Valve; Will Wright, game designer and co-founder of Maxis, which develops the Sims games; John Carmack, programmer, VR engineer and co-founder of id Software; Noel Bushnell, the founder of Atari; David Braden, CEO of Frontier Developments, the maker of Roller Coaster and Zoo Tycoon as well as Elite Dangerous; and Peter Molyneux, the overpromising man behind the Fable series. Rockstar Games as a whole studio has also won a Fellowship Award. Kojima's award will be presented on April 2nd at the BAFTA Game Awards after the nominees are announced on March 3rd. I expect that he'll get a few more BAFTAs if Death Stranding is nominated. It's exactly the kind of game these Academy folks love. I mean, most people just say that game's a movie anyway. And that's your lot for today. If you enjoyed this no shit format, go ahead and give the video a like to give it a boost. Hit subscribe and the bell if you want to stay up to date on all future installments. Toss a coin to your YouTuber over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. That's all for today. I've been Henry Cooper. Bye for now.